Hey guys, welcome to my first makeup tutorial. This is my daily hella dramatic glam look that I wear when I want to look extra or when I'm getting ready to go into work where I always look extra. Real time for this look was about an hour and 20 minutes and I'm pretty impressed that I cut it down to an 11-minute tutorial. Turns out I'm not that dumb with technology. Top editor. 2K18, watch out, gurus. Starting with a fresh, clean face, I'm using Clinique's Dramatically Different Moisturizing Cream, and I apply that product in an upwards fashion to retain my elasticity so I don't look like I'm 80 by the time I'm 30. And I also take some extra product to put under my eyes because I don't have eye cream. Now I'm going in with Tarte's Poreless Mattifying Primer, and I like to put this only in the spots where I highlight and where my pores are a little more open, because I do apply a heavy concealer there, and then I just kind of work the leftover products around my face. Now taking a green color corrector, I put this on my rough spots around my face. Unfortunately, I have a lot since I started birth control and my hormones are going fucking crazy. A wonderful time in my life. This is awesome. Now using Tajin, something like that, from the Kristen Leanne palette. Any orange basically will do. I just pat that under my eyes, and I prefer powder because it does seem to stick a little more in my biggest problem area, which is the purple. Then using a damp beauty blender, I go around and blend that sucker right on out. And sometimes it doesn't want to fully cover, so I mix a primer with that green again and go back in and recoat it, just in the spots to where my acne wants to be extra troublesome. I'm using a Lancome in 110C and 90N because I have no idea where my skin is right now that I am moving out of winter. So I use a 2:3 ratio, the 3 being the palest, mix it together, and then take my stippling brush and slap that all over my face until it's even enough before I blend it out with a blender, making sure that it coats the green pretty well, all the spots that we corrected. And then with that beauty blender, I'm making sure to go in my hairline. I don't really care too much about the lid or under the eyes since I am hitting that spot with different product. Now using a shadow primer by Lorac, I go ahead and put that on beforehand so that it has time to sit before I put shadow over it so it can dry out, do its thing, you know. And then using Glamoflauge by Hard Candy in Ultralight because we pale as fuck out here. A little bit of this stuff goes a long way. It's very, very heavy coverage. If you cake it and you set it, it's gonna look awful. So use this lightly, and I put it in all the highlighting sides. It's pretty obvious where the spots are. You guys watch enough makeup tutorials, you should know. And then I blend that out with the damp blender again. For the contour, I'm using a very old Wet n Wild contour stick, and I put that higher on my cheekbones instead of in the actual hollows, because I feel like it looks less like you smashed some shit onto your face. And then the usual contour spots, you already know what it is. And then using a brush and laying it flat for my cheeks, I go ahead and blend that out, putting the product a little more upwards, and then putting the contour a little more into my hairline, and then blending the rest of it out. For my nose contour, I like to use an old eyeshadow brush and work the product that I put under my nose up. I don't like to put product on before, because I feel like it's just a little overbearing, but sometimes when you do need a little more, I always start at the tip, just the tip. Moving on to baking, I use my Tarte Smooth Operator Translucent Powder tapping the excess off the lid, packing that onto my blender, and then putting it in the spots that I highlight. I use this pretty generously because I do need especially those spots on my face to stay all night. And I usually don't do anything whenever I bake. I don't try to attempt to work with my eyeshadow or my eyebrows because I bake the tails of my eyebrows anyway, as you see. I don't have enough trust in myself to try to do any of that. So I take that time to sit and reflect on my life. And after about 5 minutes of life reflection, I go ahead and blend everything out to the rest of my face. For brows, I go in with NYX Precision Brow Pencil in Ash Brown, and I like to work little bits at a time. I don't like to do one whole brow and then try to match the other. It's just a little more complicated. And I bring those tails up a little bit higher than they should be because I like that attitude. And I like to take this time to pray that my pencil doesn't break. But lo and behold, prayers unanswered. So then I try to remedy it, and that also doesn't work at all, which is fine because I'm darkening up the tails later. Then I use my Eyelure Brow Amplifier in dark brown and try to brush that through a little bit, darkening it up, and then I will take my brow brush, picking up Sabbath from my Kat Von D palette, putting that through the tails of my brows because I like the gradient look, especially when I wear my darker wigs. And then I only clean up the bottoms of my brows. I try to do the best that I can with the tops because I don't want to mess up that nice contour that I have going on. And either way, the way that I blend it out, it'll kind of morph with my shadow. So then I take a Men with a flat brush and go ahead and pat that in to set it. For the shadow, I take Sacred Heart and use this as my transition shade. I blend that all over my lid, a little higher to the brow because I want more color on my lid than anything. I have very hooded eyes, so I gotta do what I gotta do. Using a round brush with Rosary, I kind of take that as a sort of secondary transition shade. This is the crease before the crease. Then I always make sure this is visible through my crease. And then I'm taking a floofy brush and blending that straight out, and I blend for quite some time. I feel like 90% of my life is just blending shadow. And then taking a smaller round brush, I'm using Sanctuary and Rosary mixed together because I don't want that straight up brown color. I want that sort of purpley pinkish brown. And I sort of halo it, but without the rounded top to it because I want it to be a little more flat, considering the fact that my eyes are already pretty dang round. With my pinky, I'm picking up a mixture of Rapture and Sacred Heart because Rapture honestly isn't as heavy as I anticipated. It needs a little help because of the formula, and then taking a small round brush, I'm going back in with Rosary and working on my lower lid. And then I'm taking my obviously really old and worn lashes slash mustache, and then I'm gluing that and setting it to the side to dry a little bit. So I'm taking the time to line my eyes with the NYX Hella Fine Liner. So I start off with my regular, I don't know, this part of my actual eye before I wing it out. I have very hooded eyes, so I have to sort of do it in a weird way with a little faint guideline, as you see, so that I know what my wing's gonna look like as I'm looking straight on, instead of looking like I'm in a perpetual Instagram post. And then I drag that down to meet up with the rest of my liner, and then I fill that sucker in. And when I say this is dramatic, I mean this is very dramatic. And with problem liner comes problems in general.
fucking serious?
Yep. That's my life right there. That is my entire life, with having shitty hooded eyes and trying to be glam as fuck. And then after that, I clean it up with a concealer. And then I'm coating the tops and bottoms of my upper lashes with L'Oreal Voluminous. And then my lower lashes I like to bring out instead of down because of my droopy eyes. And then using Too Faced Melted Matte in Holy Chic, I like to put more volume on my upper lip instead of my lower lip. I don't know why I prefer this method more. I guess I'm trying to compensate because I have such a tiny upper lip. That could be it. And then I'm using the pink highlighter from my Carly Bybel palette, which you can't really see. And then using my Lorac liner, I only line to the middle of my waterline because I just don't want to overdo it. Ironically, even though this is a dramatic look. And then I slap my lashes on. It's pretty self-explanatory how that's done. And then, yeah, you're done. Go ahead and pop that wig on, fix yourself up. I obviously didn't really care right there. Anyway, I hope you guys liked the video. If you did, leave a thumbs up, subscribe so I can finally change my thumbnails. I need 100 of you guys. It'll help out a lot. But until next time.